Hi, this is Leighton Ginn. I'm the Director of Development for the American Documentary and Animation Film Festival. We just had our festival, and one of the really cool films that we had was From Stone to Stone. And here we have the director, Sonia Hu. Sonia, thank you for joining me. And can you please tell me a little bit about the film and how you came across this topic? Because it's really fascinating.
Okay, great. This movie is a short documentary. It's only 15 minutes, from stone to stone. It's basically it's like a documentary about a painting done by by Stone Chunshi, and also because he's inspired by the little sculpture that Jackson Pollock did in 1930s while he was about 18 to 20 years old. That's the only sculptor that's remaining in this world. It's a figurative sculptor. Jackson Pollock did a lot of sculptures later in his life, but nothing is like this little head. So basically, because the Jackson Pollock's nephew had a gallery in New York City for 42 years. It's named Jason McCoy Gallery. Stone
Okay.
and I, about a year ago, Stone's friend invited him to go to this gallery, told him they have a small sculpture of Jackson Pollock's head. Would you like to see it? And then Stone said, sure, of course, because Jackson Pollock was his inspiration, was, his role model when he was 17, 18 years old in China. Uh, China in 1980s, like the door was just opened to the
Mhm.
Western world. Before that was Cultural Revolution, political movement. In late 1970 and early 1980s, China suddenly decided to open its door to the Western country. So the whole situation changed. A lot of foreign art exhibition came to China, but mostly it's done by European museums. And but Stone has a very intimate, close art tutor. He is the head professor at an art institute. He showed Stone Jackson Pollock's painting in the little booklet. So Stone was very inspired by Jackson Pollock because he never seen something, abstract like that and so powerful. And Stone is someone that believes energy. When he first saw Jackson Pollock's the painting, the album, the book, he felt the energy. He said, "Oh my God, they're doing this," and he's from New York. I need to go to New York. And a few days later, he was watching, the cable TV in a hotel because Stone was invited by his relative to go to a hotel to see the cable TV. Was not open to, ordinary folks in China. Only in five-star hotel you get to see those cable TV. So he saw Keith Haring on the TV screen. He said, "Oh my God, this is, I need to go to New York. I want to see Jackson Pollock. I want to meet, Keith Haring." So the whole thing that motivated him to come to New York. Eventually, he came here a few years later. He started his career as a professional artist. So because of that, when he heard Jackson Pollock had a little head in Jason McCoy's gallery, so he got so excited. We went there, and because I knew how much he loved Jackson Pollock's work, so I followed him. I taped with my iPhone the whole thing because I always like to taping with my iPhone. I used to have a camera, but the camera broke down. So, the iPhone 16 Pro Max is very useful. So I use that to follow him everywhere. So I taped the, gallery. The first time it's on camera, he saw the little head. He got excited. He held in his hand. He started feeling the energy. He didn't know I was taping the whole thing on the tape. That's, a year ago, and then tape everything. And then eventually they invited him to go to the mansion. Jack's, they have a little mansion in upstate New York. We went there. We stayed one night over there. We saw Jackson Pollock's, photos on the wall, and they explained to us the photo, the meaning of the photo, they told us a lot of about Jackson Pollock. So basically, I taped everything, follow them to upstate New York and blah blah, the whole 9 years. A year later, Shetson, Stone also, because I'm always, Shetson is my MTV name when he was MTV VJ. Now his name is Stone. So that's why we always switch from Shetson, depending who I talk to. Sometimes I talk to MTV people, I would say, oh, Shetson. And then Stone is today's name. So anyhow, so that's why you can tell he's changeable like a wind. It's like he never settles on one name easily. So anyhow, so a year Stone decided to do a painting based on the sculpture because he's so excited about this. So he did a huge painting that you see in the movie, and he invited Jackson Pollock's family member to come to his studio to see the painting. But unfortunately, I didn't tape that reaction. They walk into the studio, they saw the painting, they said, oh my God, blown their mind away. And then they said, oh, we're totally blown away. Oh my God, this is so real, so surreal. Cannot believe that. But then Jackson, Pollock's nephew, Jason, was sick and old. He didn't come to the studio, so he didn't get to see it. And then, so Stone said, we need to bring the painting to New York City to show him the whole thing. And the painting at that time was in a private gallery of Stone because on Fifth Avenue, there was a little tea room, beautiful, beautiful private setting. They wanted to transform it into a private gallery. The first person they thought in their mind, the owner knows Stone very well. So she said, I love your painting. Would you please to put your paintings here as your private gallery? You can bring collectors, you can bring friends, you can hold your cultural event exhibition here whenever you want. So that's how we brought all the painting to this little boutique, and then we hand up the painting, transform it into basically a private gallery. So in the painting, the Jackson Pollock, the big painting was there. So Stone decided to move, we decided to rent U-Haul to move the painting from Fifth Avenue all the way to Uptown to Madison Avenue, where Jason McCoy Gallery was. But unfortunately, we didn't know. We booked a U-Haul truck at 11 o'clock. And then so we said, okay, we can just drive uptown in a few minutes and then that will be done. But unfortunately, when we called the U-Haul, they said, yes, you booked the vehicle, but we don't have it. You have to wait for us to call you when the vehicle will be ready. And then Stone says, no, I need it. I need to send this painting to the gallery by 11 o'clock because Jason McCoy was waiting there. And then, but they said, unfortunately, we don't have the vehicle. And at that point, we said, oh, what are we going to do? And then Stone said, let's carry it all the way because from Fifth Avenue, 30th Street to 57 Madison Avenue, there's only 20 blocks. Let's carry it over. But that painting was so massive. It's like a weight 70 pounds. And then carried from the 30th Avenue all the way to 57 was a long journey. We left the little boutique at 10 o'clock, probably 9:30. And then Stone asked his friend Zach. So three of us were carrying the painting. I was taping the whole thing. I thought was interesting. What's the people reaction on the street? It's kind of interesting for two guys carrying a massive painting on the street of New York on Fifth Avenue. That's one of a lifetime thing. So that's why I decided to tape it with my iPhone camera. And so they carried, and every block they have to stop to rest because it was so heavy. And then suddenly Zach said, let's rent a city bike because we can put the painting on the back, the bike. So we immediately rent a city bike and then put the painting on the back, the bike so we can push it. And then while we're doing this, a lot of New Yorker, visitors on the street, they stopped, they take photos of that, they ask questions about the painting. So everything was, I taped the whole 9 yards. And then some New Yorker even volunteer to push the bicycle. Oh, let me help you. Where are you going? Going to Madison 57. I can help. These two girls, they on the way to work. When they saw us, they wanted to help. And so they pushed the bicycle and held, Shutson's bags and whatever. And I said, aren't you going to have to go to work? They said, oh, we can be late, but we can let Art, late, for the museum, whatever, because you need to go there by 11 because we said, oh, we have to be there by 11. Okay, let's help you. So with the help of the, two girls, we got the painting to the gallery. Then we had a problem with the elevator. And then finally, a lot of issues. So finally we got into the showroom. Jason McCoy was waiting for us. He's the nephew of Jackson Pollock. He's been with his uncle when he was like a teenager. So he knew his uncle, his auntie, whatever the things. He told us all about Jackson Pollock. When we carried the painting into the showroom, when he saw it, he's like, oh my God, oh my God. He couldn't believe his eyes. He started mumbling. He said, oh my God, oh my God. It's beautiful. I could see tears coming out of his eyes, and I started talking about it. While he was talking about this, I suddenly realized this is a rare moment. Let me take out my iPhone and then let me tape this, because if you really had a camera, you have to ask permission whether I can use camera to tape you. But you have a little iPhone. Nobody cares about little iPhone. So he was talking. I was taping him. I missed the beginning. The important part is like, oh my God, tears came out of his eyes. I can't believe in my eyes, he said. But anyhow, I got the part that he's talking about energy made visible. That's Jackson Pollock's theory, because he believed that energy of the universe can be made visible through his artwork. So Jason McCoy said, "Oh my God, I can feel the energy because Jackson Pollock's little sculpture is only small. You can only hold in your hands to feel the energy, but the painting you can see it to feel the energy." That's what he's saying is a one of kind masterpiece. So I taped the whole thing, the whole 9 yards. I never thought into making a film. It's
Mhm.
never crossed my mind because, making a film, you have a production, you have a script, everything. But then one day I was going through all the materials that I taped because I needed to delete a lot of things from my iPhone, and then I'm running out of space. And I saw all this precious movement, and suddenly an idea dawned on me. Why don't I just cut into a video? I never thought about, film, whatever. So just make a video. Maybe I can put on social media. That's kind of thing. And then I made the video, I cut into 25 minutes, and I said to myself, it's too long for social media. But anyhow, that day, a friend of mine who is a professional filmmaker, he made films, he attended a lot of film festival, he did a lot of award-winning films. He came to visit us. And then I suddenly, said to him, I made some little video. Would you like to take a look at? What do you think? So I show him the video, the 25 minutes. I saw him watching from the beginning. He's laughing. He's, oh my God, the whole thing. And then the whole very time went very quickly. After he saw, I said, what do you think? He said, oh my God, Sonia, this is pretty good. This is really good. And then he said, what do you want to do with it? I don't know. He's like, oh, you should send it to film festival. You should send it to Netflix. They may buy it because it's something very rare. How many times can you meet Jackson Pollock's relative? You see his original sculpture, you made this painting, the whole story is interesting. And then he said, well, you need an editor to put this together because a lot of redundance in talking, whatever the thing is. So, and then he said, you have to have someone to cut it for you because as a filmmaker, you need a fresh eye. And then I thought about my son, Tyrone. He is kind of he is a filmmaker, video maker. He's very popular on Instagram. He has 100,000 followers. He made 30-second, 20 to 30 seconds video. Very successful. Even record company contact him. A lot of company asking him to make videos for them. So he's very good at, editing and producing, directing, everything. He's better than me. So, and then I said, maybe I'll call him because he's free. And I know, because if I go anywhere, that they will charge me. Then I called him. I said, Tyrone, I made this little something. And I asked Uncle Tom. He said, it's pretty good. I don't know. Can I send it to you? If it's worth your time, would you mind doing some editing for me? He said, sure, come, send it over. So I sent it over to him. He took a look. And then few minutes, 10 minutes later, he contacted me. He said, okay, I can be the editor. I said, oh, you think it's good enough, worthwhile to do it? He's like, I like the story. It's pretty good. Hearing it from him is a major for me because he's always like, everybody make, crab, a filmmaking should be this, the lighting, the filter, blah, blah, the whole 9 yards. And then I said, okay. So he made a cut. He cut from 25 minutes, got rid of another 10 minutes, compiled into 10 minutes, 15 minutes, a little documentary. And then after that, and I said, okay, what I'm going to do with that? So then I thought about Tom said, you should submit to film festival. And then so I started submitting. I learned how to submit a film festival and I started doing that. And now I received invitation from AmDocs from Tim. And then he invited me to go to the film festival in Palm Springs. I never been to Palm Springs in my life. And I thought, okay, interesting. And also, this is the first, most of, festivals online, and some of them, in foreign countries. It very costly go to Berlin, to go to Munich. And I said, oh, Palm Spring, this is on the continent of America. I can fly over there. So then I decided to go to AmDocs. That's how the whole thing is done.
Okay. Well, really, let's backtrack here a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You've known Stone for a long time. How long have
Yeah.
you guys known each other? Can you talk about how you guys met?
Um, I've known him for 30 years.
Wow.
We met in 1995, exactly 30 years ago at
Oh.
MTV Asia. At that time, I was working as a producer for MTV Asia located in Singapore.
Mhm.
I was hired first working in New York for MTV International. Half a year later, MTV International set up MTV Asia, and I asked to be transferred to Asia because, first of all, I'm from Asia. I'm from China originally.
Mhm.
And I want to do production because while I was working for MTV in New York, I was working for MTV International Business Development. And I didn't, business was interesting, but production was really something that I love. And so when I asked to be transferred, my boss said, nobody wants to go to production. You know, you should stay in the business development because makes the money and production just wastes the money, just spend the money. We make the money, they spend the money. Do you want to with the people spending the money or you want to with the people that making the money? I said, I want to be with the people who are creative enough to make beautiful films and TV shows. I'm creative. I want to be with creative people. That's how they transfer me from New York to Singapore. And then at that time in 1995, MTV decided to go back to Asia because MTV was in Asia, team up with Hong Kong Star TV. They set up a channel called Channel V, was doing very popular, but somehow their business vision and did not align together. And MTV decided to come back to regroup to go to Asia on their own. So, that's how they set up MTV Asia. They hired me to go to MTV Asia. And that time they were searching for talents across whole Asia, looking for someone can represent them cool enough to be on camera, to be the VJ for MTV Asia in Mandarin, because this person has to be cool and has to know a lot about music, preferably a musician. And the person has to be, uh, you know, good looking on camera and then appealing to the audience and young enough. So they were looking, it's very hard. Many people, volunteer, whatever. When the producer Tom is a producer in Taiwan, he was searching, scouting for talents. Someone told him there is someone just become popular in Taiwan. He's a spokesperson for a commercial tea, and then he's an artist and he's very cool. He's a rock star in Taiwan. So then Tom said, "Okay, let me go to the concert to see him, check him out." He went to concert. That was Stone. At that time, his name was Shetson. So Shetson was playing, the rock with the rock band on the stage. Tom first saw him. He said, "That's it. That's him." So he went on to interview him and did a little program for MTV. After the interview, he asked Shetson, saying, "Would you like to be MTV VJ on camera?" At that time, he did five commercials for a tea commercial as artist. So they flew to come to New York to follow him basically where he worked. where his studio, how he made his, paintings, everything, and talk to him about his vision, his ideology about art. So basically, they cut into, 5 commercials. All of them become a blast in Asia, won a lot of international, Asian awards, commercial awards, advertisement awards. And then he became overnight sensation. A lot of magazines, newspapers interviewed him, and they want to know who is this crazy guy with the long hair. You should see him at that time. He has a very long hair, wearing shorts, military boots, and people thought, oh my God, he definitely turned people's head on the street everywhere. So then he said, okay, MTV, I love MTV. When he first came to New York, the only channel he watched was MTV, MTV Music at that time. So that's why he decided to go to, then they ship him from Taiwan to Singapore. Uh, my boss, which is MTV in charge of MTV production, Suzette, he said, Shetson, the reason we hire him, he's a force of nature. That's why he's so, he's a force of nature. There's nothing else to explain. So that's how they hired him. We met in Singapore. We became friends. That's how we met.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about the difference with MTV Asia compared to MTV in the US? I assume you saw a lot of the
Yeah.
US brand.
Yeah.
What was the
MTV,
difference?
yeah, MTV US was broadcasting everything for in USA in English. MTV Asia broadcasting in both English and also Chinese, and also in a lot of other languages. The reason they set up in Singapore at that time, Singapore was willing to give MTV 10 years tax cut. That's why they chose Singapore as their MTV Asia location. They were saying because the signal download, upload link, satellite, they use satellite. If you set up a headquarters in Singapore, you get tax cut and also downloading from the satellite, the picture, image, everything's clearer. You can't do it from USA because it's too far away from Asia. You need the
Mhm.
satellites in Asia. You normally they rent a satellite, so the downlink, all their programming, and
But
then
like content wise, what was
oh,
the music
content wise,
like there and
same
stuff?
thing. Content every day, and they gave VJs the same content, and then MTV USA just do it in English version. When they gave to us, the reason they hire people like me who are, bilingual, when we
Hmm.
get the script, everything is in English. I immediately translate into Chinese, and then
Hmm.
I go to the studio, tape the segment with the VJs. That's
Okay.
how. That's the only difference.
But it's the same music, not
The same TV, the same name like Headbangers Ball that Shetson was Song was hosting a Headbangers Ball in
oh,
Asian language.
oh,
Because he's a
wow.
rock star.
Headbangers
So
Ball.
yeah. So he
Headbangers
did
Ball to
Headbangers Ball.
Jackapolic, huh?
He did Time Out, the program Time Out, and they wanted to him to do the idol hour. He said, "No, I don't do idols. I hate idols."
Uh, now, did
But
you guys get to know Carson Daly? Was that his era?
Yeah, yeah. Carson Daly at that time was popular in the US. And then Shetson was the Chinese VJ for Asia.
Well, Carson
Yeah.
Daly grew up in this area.
Oh, really?
His mom was very famous, and he was actually
Yeah.
intern for a radio station here that
Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel was the DJ.
Yeah.
So
I
he
remember
was,
that Carson Daly and Kennedy. There's a woman
yeah,
by the name.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Kennedy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We sometimes we come to New York to do the road show. We
Hmm.
interview Alanis Morissette because we need to come here to do the road show to interview the stars in China, in English, and then uh, I remember we did an interview with Alanis Morissette. So Shazam did the interview in China in English, but
Oh,
he in between the bumpers, the teasing, he has to do it in Chinese. So you have to be bilingual to be able to speak in Chinese to the audience and also interview the USA, American stars. And then
now
I
who?
remember we came here, we did an interview with Lenny Kravitz in a little hotel on Fifth Avenue in the, no. We did a lot of things. IEM, the lead, the guitarist. Yeah.
Oh,
I
really?
I didn't know all these people, but Stone knows all of them very well. He said, "Oh, they talking about albums, the music, the everything." So
Now,
he's good.
who was the most interesting interview that you had? You mentioned Alanis Morissette, Lenny
Yeah.
Kravitz. Is there one?
Definitely, Lenny Kravitz, because I remember clearly, Alanis Morissette. We did a lot of interview with a lot of people, but the reason I only remember Alanis Morissette is because she just became famous, and we came here and said you got to interview this Alanis Morissette. I didn't know who Alanis Morissette was, and Shetson only heard her album, never met her because uh, he, her album just came out and just become starting the become very popular, becoming a hit. So MTV interview. She's very down to earth, very pretty little girl. And then I remember that we went there, and then she was sitting on the floor with Stone at the time. They were chatting about music, the vision of art, everything like longtime friends. I did a lot of, I took some shots of Shetson. That's the picture we still have today. And I just amazed by him. He's able to make friends with anyone, just instant, quickly. Yeah.
Did
So,
any of
and
these?
also Lenny Kravitz, we did in a roof, in a kind of in a very fancy hotel on Fifth Avenue. The reason is that day we supposed to have two cameramen, and one cameraman didn't show up. So Tom, the producer, said, "Sonia, can you become a cameraman? Hold the camera. All you need to do is hold the camera. It's focusing on Lenny Kravitz. That will be good." And then I have another camera focusing on Shetson. You don't need to do anything. I said, "Okay, fine." I didn't know what got into my mind. And after the whole interview, and Shetson was talking to Lenny Kravitz, asking him about this and that. They had a nice chat. And after the shooting, and Tom looked at the footage, he's like, "Oh my God, what did you do, Sonia?" I said, "What? What?" He said, "The focus is off. You know, focusing on Lenny Kravitz because it's all blur." And then he
Oh
said,
no.
"Yeah, it seems like you're all. I told you not to focus. I should. Oh, everything you have, every shot you have, you're thinking. Maybe I was thinking about at that time we started like very close, so maybe I was thinking about Shelton, Stone all the time." So he said, "Oh my God, I should have you focus on Stone, and then someone else would focus." I can't. How can I use this? Oh my God, I can't go back to ask him for another interview, right? And then she's like, what am I gonna do? Oh my God, screwed up. And then he's like, okay, let me think. So he put on a filter as he did intentionally because Lenny Kraft, a little cuckoo, he's talking, so he did a kind of filter on him and make him like a very kind of a hallucination kind of thing, but somehow passed the segment. He's like, oh my God, Sonia. So till today, three of us still remember that moment.
Wow, that's really
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
And then what was your impression of Palm Springs? How was your time out here during AmDocs?
Oh, I had a great time. Thank you. Thanks, teams. I didn't get a chance to thank him because he first contacted me, emailed me saying, your film is officially selected by AmDocs, and would you like to come? Whatever the thing is. I thought that was a scam. I didn't know AmDocs. And I thought, oh, scam, because every day you receive scam phone calls, emails, and I thought somehow in my mind, scam. So I deleted and put in a scam box. And then later he sent me so many emails because I put in the scam box. And then he
Uh,
was able to reach me. And then finally he get hold of Tyrone because he saw, oh, editor Tyrone Shi. So he contacted Tyrone and he contacted Jason McCoy's gallery because I put, credits of them on it. And then Tyrone first saying, "Oh, a film festival is looking for you." I said, "What film festival?" He said, "AmDocs." I said, like, and then he sent me the email that's from Tim saying, "Where's Sonia?" And so, oh my gosh, I thought it was a scam. And I asked him, "Do you think it's a scam?" He said, "No, it's not a scam. It's a film festival. You better contact them." So I called him saying, "I'm so sorry, but I couldn't tell him it's a scam." I said, "Well, I've been, maybe went in junk mail folder, whatever." So I made an excuse and then think, but I literally thought it was a scam from someone.
wow. Well, I'm glad someone alerted you to it because
Yeah,
your
yeah.
film did
So
very
and
well
then
on
he
it.
contact Jason McCall, Gary. Gary called me. They didn't know I made a film. They said, Sonia, someone's contacting us saying you made a film. What kind of film did you make? So I have to tell them that's about Jackson Pollock's Little Sculptor, Stones the Whole 9 yards. And I show them the film. So, oh, cool. Because I want to keep it secret.
Well, I'm sorry, we're running out of time. I enjoyed talking
Okay.
to you,
Yeah,
listen to
yeah.
your stories.
Okay. Okay.
But I just want to remind people if you guys want to enter the festival, we're taking submissions now till the end of the year. Next year's festival is March 25th to 29th. And Sonia, it was a delight to talk to you. Hopefully, you'll have another film and you'll come back to Palm Springs and
Definitely,
we'll
definitely.
interview
Yeah,
you
I
again.
love you guys.
Well, we love you. Thank you very much. And thank you for everyone for watching.
Okay. Bye.